fasting. And the reason I'm here tonight and will be through the 7-week program is because I'm doing it to get myself back on track. Christmas kind of messed me up a little bit. And I am not completely back on track the way I was, and I'm not fat adapted. But one of the things that I discovered that happened today, I'm accidentally doing a fast. And I expect that probably all of you will experience this at some point, either during the program or after it, where I used to think, and it's a change of viewpoint, so I used to think, oh, I haven't eaten yet, oh, I better grab something. That was my thought. Today I was so busy in the beginning that I didn't have time to eat, and I realized that instead of thinking that, my first thought was, well, I'll just turn it into a fast day. And I went, what did you just say? And so I haven't eaten yet today, and I feel fine. And that was really, I had like I think less than an hour of mild hunger, and then it just went away, and I'm fine. My energy is very good, and I'll eat when I get home. But 7:30 is my 24-hour point, so I ate. But it's the viewpoint that instead of thinking about eating, I actually thought, well, I'll just turn it into a fast day. And I hope that all of you reach that point, because it's at that point you will go, oh my goodness, I've done it.
Yeah, thank you.
Here he is.
All right, welcome everybody. Thank you. What a great turnout. It's a little bit tighter than the last room, but I appreciate y'all being here. And so what I want to do is I just kind of want to get, this is like I just kind of look at it as a night class workshop, right? So what we're going to do over the next 7 weeks is we're really going to learn how to fast, why to fast, how your body's going to react to it. And the ultimate goal of a course is what? To get our body producing stem cells. Does everybody know what stem cells are? Kind of have an idea, maybe not 100%. Well, this is what stem cells look like, right? It's like when you are born, you're a bunch of you're one stem cell when you're conceived, and those stem cells divide, and they look exactly the same until day 16, and then they differentiate into the complete body. They change into whatever, an eyeball, a toe, a kidney, a liver. And the thing that all of the science is pointing to right now is that your body can produce its own stem cells, and we can actually make it produce more. And that's what's cool. That's what the science is, the guy who won the Nobel Prize, Dr. Yoshinori Asumi, tried saying that 3 times fast. In 2016, won that for the term called autophagy, meaning that your body's going to break down the weak, dying, tired cells in times of stress, and then it's going to take all those elements and make new stem cells. That's the only reason we're doing this. I mean, so what I'd like to do is just, if you don't mind, I'd just like to ask you guys what was your purpose on coming here tonight? I mean, some people it might be weight loss, others it might be just to get healthier, but if I know what your goals are, and if we know what each other's goals are, it's going to be a lot easier for us to work together. So anybody want to volunteer what their thought is? Chris?
Yeah, I got some eczema that I can't get rid of, and I just feel like my body isn't working, my digestion's not working as well as it has in the past. I just feel kind of not efficient.
Awesome. Well, that's what we're going to address.
Inflammation.
Yeah, inflammation. Right. That's exactly what, when you're burning, we have 2 types of fuel, right? We have, what are the 2 types of fuel? Anybody know? Sugar and fat. Yeah, and the fat is ketones. And it's like having a car that can be an electric car or a gas car. Well, electricity is a lot cleaner burning. Ketones are a lot cleaner burning. So that's what we're going for. Any other? Yeah.
I have a few things going on physically. I have type 2 diabetes, and the doctor said I need to, if I don't do something about it, I'm going to have to do some kind of shots, and I don't want to do that.
Wow.
I'm having arthritis in my hands, and I want to figure out how I can not eat what I shouldn't eat. And I need to figure out how I can eat better, because I like all food. Hamburgers, French fries, salads, cucumbers.
Well, there's on week 4, I'm going to give you a big surprise that you're going to love, but I'm going to make you come back to that week. So. Just remember. So, but that's great.
So
and
I need to figure out this diabetes stuff because I don't want it to go in.
this is right down the line of handling that because diabetes has to do with what?
Food, what kind of food, and exercise.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's how you handle it, but it has to do with, and I'd
The
say insulin and sugar.
Yeah.
That's one type of fuel. So what if we just made that the lesser important fuel for you and got you burning ketones?
Yeah.
So the you know, it's like if you have, I hate to say this, you have a pimple and you just keep picking at the pimple, what's going to happen? It's getting worse.
Yeah.
And you guys heard Dr. Fung the other night, the Jason Fung, talk about if your problem is too much diabetes, why would you, I mean, too much insulin, why would you give the body more insulin? But this is, and I heard another friend of mine, actually I think it was Dr. Fung on one of the talks. He said, if you could have a business that there was a condition and you could create a medication to manage the condition that wouldn't kill you and wouldn't heal you, wouldn't that be a great business? You've got patients for the rest of your life. So that's kind of that's the diabetes thing. Anybody else want to volunteer anything? Yeah.
I too have type 2 diabetes,
Uh-huh.
and I am on insulin.
Okay.
And the more insulin then you can take, the more weight. I put on like 45 pounds because of it.
Yeah.
And it slowly keeps increasing, and they keep wanting to give me more instead of, you know, I've tried other diets, but I just really want to learn to live differently, a different way to eat, and give me more energy, and to get off the insulin.
That's awesome, and you heard, you may not remember Dr., and I'm quoting just Dr. Fung a lot, but it's Dr. Pompa's teaching us the same thing, is he said, Dr. Fung said, if you give somebody insulin, everybody knows when you get insulin, you're going to put on more weight. But it might make your blood sugar look good. So what really is it helping but managing the symptoms till other conditions come on? Anybody else, just so we know what we're working with? Yeah.
Because you told me I should come.
That's great. I love that. That's great. And you should have.
But on a serious note, I mean, I'm just willing to give it a try.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot about fasting and thought that would be interesting, and then adding a cellular detox to it.
Uh-huh.
So if I can clear out my body and notice it, if I can drop more weight, and it's worth a try.
Yeah. Yes, Nancy.
Yeah, I've been doing the intermittent fasting from like 7:30 at night to either 11:30 or 12:30 the next day for months now, and I love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. But I am on all sorts of medications,
Right.
And I just need to get a better, state of health all around.
Yeah.
So I'm ready to take it to the next level.
Great. And you know, I got to tell you that one of these slides is a disclaimer that says, look, you guys have mentioned a lot of conditions. Obviously, we're not treating conditions here. We're just trying to help your body get healthier, trying to pave a way for you. And like Carol said, we have so many people helping. I was on a call with Dr. Pompa and about 40 other practitioners today. Every Tuesday, we spend an hour either learning, troubleshooting, what have you, and it's pretty cool. I feel so lucky to be part of it. Okay, well, I'm going to just start, if I can get this thing to play. It's what I tried to play the other day, and I'm going to just see if it works. It garbled a little bit, but I think it's kind of cool, so we're just going to play it. It's 1 minute long, and maybe you guys have seen it before, but it's not about today. It's about the rest of our life, right? I hope. And it's going to be a long one.
Thank you. Fasting.
Oh, and move the board there.
What will your last 10 years look like? Will you be quick enough for a game of tag with your grandchild? Strong enough to embrace every moment? Will you grow old with vitality? Or get old with disease? nursing sickness. Change your future at makehealthlast.ca.
Anyway, it's pretty powerful. I mean, all of us are of a certain age, at least most of us are under 30, I think, right? So we've got a long time until we get to that point. But the right time to start is now. And I think you're here because you already know that. But I think that to me, when I saw that, a friend of mine showed me that, and I went, that's such a powerful message. If when you look at your book here that you got, the Stemnomics book, this is put together by Dr. Pompa. He's right now got about 20,000 people fasting on this program. Between all of us, there's several hundred more between all our people that have started this in the last week or two. But we're going to take 1 week at a time, and you're going to have homework every week. How many of you did any of the homework I've recommended? Awesome. What did you find, Chris?
I found I wasn't hungry till noon. I did kind of a full of coffee and fasted till noon.
Good.
Every day, and I just felt good. Like I wasn't craving sugar. Is what I noticed.
Awesome. Dave?
I counted my number of meals.
Awesome. How many were there?
Well, it ranged. One day I thought I had food poisoning, but I think I had like a 24-hour flu. I only ate 2 meals that day.
Wow. Yeah, good. That doesn't
Typically
count.
it was like 10 to 14.
Wow.
With
Anybody
snacks
else?
and stuff.
Yeah, anybody else do the meal count? Yeah, Pat?
Yeah.
How many? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I found out I was eating more meals than I thought.
How many?
I'm not going to tell you.
Well, the average person is about 15 to 17 times they put food in
Well,
their
it
mouth.
wasn't that high. But
Okay.
It was higher than I thought it should be.
Anybody else do any of the other homework that we talked about? Yeah.
I eat every 2 to 3 hours.
Okay, and you do that because you feel hungry? Yeah, people eat for different reasons, okay? So that's going to be part of the homework of our first course, but our first week again. So if you open up your book, I'm just going to read, oh well, I don't have my glasses, but.
Everybody must have some.
Here, you guys read it out loud, would you? Thanks. Okay, so on page 1 it says, the purpose of this workbook is to guide you and keep you focused throughout your Stemnomic journey, and I'll explain Stemnomic in a minute. Utilizing therapeutic strategies such as ketosis, fat adaptation. The first week we're going to really work on getting our body fat adapted, and that can take 2 to 3 weeks. It can take longer for different people. Right now, probably Carol's the same as me. I can get into ketosis in a day. And because I've been working at it for over a year. So if I decide to go in ketosis, I can measure my ketones, and I'm in ketosis maybe 1 or 2 days. You guys, it will probably take, a week or 2 or less. We'll find out. But the thing is we want to get our body so that it can immediately shift fuels. You're driving down the road in your Prius, right, and you're out of fuel. You don't gluck. It just goes to, from one fuel to the other. And we want it to be ketones, ideally. Okay, so we want you to get into fat adapting. We want to teach you how to intermittent fast. Diet variation is one of the key things. And we're going to teach you, is it Rod?
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to teach you feast and famine. So I'm giving you a little hint. So, and that's really important. And so nobody's really teaching this. And this is what, Dr. Pompa is so good at. He pulls all of the guys around the world together, finds out what they're doing that's working, and he's put it together. A lot of people are doing this or that, but nobody's doing all of it. Hi, grab a booklet there, and if you want to squeeze in, there's a chair somewhere. So intermittent fasting, and we want to lead you up to, ideally, a 5-day water fast by the time we're done, and that's the 6th week. Now, some of you may not be able to do it. You might do a 3-day bone broth fast, or whatever, but if I'm learning how to do push-ups, and I do 1 push-up today, and you're telling me in 7 weeks I'm going to do 20 push-ups, I go, forget it, So, but if I do 1 today, 2 tomorrow, 3 the next day, maybe stay at 3 for a little while, pretty soon I'm able to do those push-ups without thinking about it. And so as we teach our body to become fat adapted, because what's the only problem if you're not eating? What could possibly happen? You could starve to death. but I can look around this room. There's not one person here who doesn't have 5 days of fuel on it. Okay? I can guarantee it. So we're going
Hope you're not
to...
gonna sign us another.
That's right.
See how
So this whole program is to give you the benefit to do what? What again is our main benefit here? And that, how do we do that? Stem cells. We just remember, when you're doing this and it's like, oh, I want to eat, just think, stem cells. Man, that's my goal. And you can't fail at this because you can just start over again. Okay? Very good. So, so Stemnomic is a word actually coined by Dr. Pompa. Stemnomics is the use of therapeutic strategies, plural, because it isn't just the keto diet, it's not diet variation, it isn't fasting, it isn't detoxification, it's all of them combined at the right time to get the result we want. So we're going to use that to enhance the production of what? Awesome! You guys are doing great. You're going to get an A tonight on your night class. All right. So, and then we're gonna jump into the book. So, for everybody, turn to the page. What is it? 2. And just write your purpose here. Just take a second, jot down a sentence or two. Or what do you want out of this? And this you don't have to say this out loud. So you might go, I just want to get my energy back. I feel like I could have some fun in my life. I want to feel like I like to look at myself in the mirror. I don't know. And remember, you got to love your fat, right? Do, 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 do. Double Jeopardy's coming up.
lock in your answers.
Well, I'm glad to see you guys writing and really deciding. I mean, it's important. This is for you, right? And then I'm going to recommend you do this. When you get home tonight, take a picture of yourself. Take a picture of your face. This is what Dr. Pompa was recommending too. Take a picture of yourself, selfie in the mirror like all those older people than us do, the guys that still use Facebook since we're all on Instagram and stuff like that, right? But take a picture of that and take a picture of your face. You don't have to, but why not? What do you have to lose? Let's see where the difference is.
Can we use Photoshop?
Only afterwards. Only when you do your success story. Photoshop works there. But, and then one thing we're going to do, and there's going to be a sign-up sheet for this. Does anybody know what body composition analyses are? We have a body composition machine that you put on your hands and your feet, and it measures the fat mass, the muscle mass, the water mass, how healthy your cell walls are. And so we're going to do that for free for you guys as part of this process. It takes about 15 minutes. Arlene's going to have a sign-up sheet. We have Tuesday available. I know you guys that maybe we'll do yours next time you come up because you're from Monterey. And I don't know who else. I know we'll do you when you come over the hill to get adjusted. So
Does that measure glucose level as well? How do
No.
you measure glucose level?
No, it doesn't. But we're gonna talk about that. Okay, definitely. So we want to try to give you a snapshot of where you are right now, because a lot of times you're gonna feel like, why am I doing this? But at the end, we want to see the changes. So that's going to be something we offer, and I'll talk more about that later. Okay, so let's dive into this thing. Let's see. There we go. I'm at the summary. I don't want to be at the summary. I hate this. I'll do it this way. You can't see it. I'm not very technical, so the fact that I'm even doing this is pretty amazing to me. I actually even put the slides together. That's even more amazing. Okay, let's see if it comes up. There we go. Okay, good. So I'll try to stay out of your guys' way as much as I can. So the Stemnomics solution, our whole goal is to improve our health, right? and I'll keep stepping backwards and forwards a bit. So here's some goals, and you guys mentioned a lot of these, but maybe you haven't thought of some of them. Of course, weight loss, energy. One thing about not eating as much when we get into the intermittent fasting, which is going to be in the 3rd week that we really dive into it, the reason we don't want to start right now, if you haven't already done so, is we need you to be fat adapted first. Because if you try to go into intermittent fasting without having your body knowing how to burn ketones, you're going to use up your sugar and then you're going to crash.
What's intermittent fasting?
That's a great question. It's where you skip a meal a day, to be simple. Okay? But the thing is that you could do it, but you want to do it correctly. You don't want to, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And we want to teach you to have the best health out of this, the best wins. And by the time you're done, you're going to be able to go, hey, I know how to do this. So I'm going to go, it's Christmas or holiday or whatever. I'm going to go do what I want to do. I think I'm going to intermittent fast for a week. Maybe I'm going to throw in a 5-day water fast because I'm feeling inflammation again. So we're going to teach you how to do that. My goal is at the end of this, you guys know what to do. You're not going to, you guys are going to know as much as me. Because I have got everything from Dr. Pompa or these other guys, so I don't know much, I just repeat it. So energy production, when you're not eating, your body's not having to spend all that energy digesting, so you have energy to repair your body. So that's one of the keys of intermittent fasting, your body can repair itself. Immune response, when you intermittent fast, that term autophagy, that means your body's breaking down all of the old immune cells in your body. The white blood cells that are old get broken down. The bugs in your gut get broken down. The microbiome, we call the bad ones. All of the weak cells in your body get broken down. So we want to improve your immune system. Well, first we've got to fire the old immune system. So that's the thing we're doing with the immune response. Your autoimmune disorders like hypothyroid disorders, any inflammatory arthritis, all that stuff is your body attacking itself. So as you're intermittent fasting and getting into the longer fasts, your body's going to start to correct that. Held down 7 on the computer. It's like your software isn't working right. You have a good hardware, but it just says, eat yourself, eat yourself, eat yourself. Body's attacking itself. So we want to reverse that. Brain function, one of the things we know is when you're in ketones, when you're using ketones, your brain works much better. So there's actually studies that I haven't seen myself, but I've heard them from good authority, that your brain works 20% better on ketones than it does burning sugar. So I can find those studies, but I just went, wow, that's cool. I'm gonna parrot that out because I need all that.
And ketones again are?
That's burned fat. Burnt fat.
Is bacon a ketone?
It is, but you got to be careful because you want to get a really organic bacon because, I'm telling you, we don't want to. One of the goals is to not continue to dump toxins in our body while we're doing this.
Process.
Because one reason why are we supposed to love our fat? Do you guys remember from the other night? Nobody wants to remember. Huh?
The brain, for the brain.
Yeah, but why? What does fat do for us? Somebody said it what? It stores our toxins. If it wasn't for our fat cells grabbing the toxins out of our blood, those toxins would be in our organs and in our brain, and it would kill us. So those fat cells store those toxins. So that's one thing you can be thankful for. So, but we want to get the toxins out of our body healthily, and we don't want to, if you're going to eat bacon, make sure, just get as much organic as you can, because the amount of poisons in our food is horrendous. Longevity, of course, reduce inflammation, reduce pain, flexibility, hormone optimization. One of the main things is when you fast, your body produces a ton of human growth hormone, HGH. Okay? Human growth hormone rebuilds your body, it rebuilds muscle, and it makes you younger because it actually repairs the cells in your body, and it's fantastic. The studies on growth hormone. Also, it will help optimize other hormone functions, like insulin is a hormone. Sex hormones are a hormone, obviously, and pancreas, all those different hormones. Detoxification, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. And if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, it's a great reason to learn how to fast. So, okay, any questions on that? Because this is a workshop. I want to make sure you guys get your questions answered. If I say something you don't understand, just say, hey, could you explain that better? Yes?
So I was curious about yeast.
Yeast?
Yeast. You know, how if you eat a lot of sugar, your body starts producing a lot of
Like
yeast.
candida or something like that? Yeah. So that is one of the tests we do is called a gut zoomer. And it's a stool test that tests over 130 different bacteria in your body. And it's amazing. I mean, some of you may want to do that, some of you probably should, and some don't need to, but we'll talk about that later on. But it tests for all of the, who takes acidophilus and bifidus? Or some kind of some kind of probiotic. Okay. Who's taken the same one for like a year or two? Okay. So now what you've created is called a monoculture. So we have we have a diverse amount of bacteria in our body that's designed, some help the brain, some help digestion, some help the bloodstream, some help the heart. But and so we don't want to be stuck on one type of probiotic.
Excuse me, the autophagy.
Yeah, autophagy.
Autophagy. It improves the immune response, or the
Yeah, well, what it's going to do is white blood cells actually have memory, and they live for a long time. So let's say you were bit by some kind of terrible spider. Okay, your white blood cells are going to go fight that spider off. But then those white blood cells are going to stay floating around in your stream, and now they're sensitive to spider bites. So you get bit by a unpoisonous spider, and it's going to have the same inflammatory response. This is why we get allergies. Anyway, I don't want to get too technical on it, but it breaks down the things that cause inflammation in your body or allergies in your body. It's going to wipe out the weak cells. Does it make sense that your body should have allergies or inflammation? So when your body's under moments of stress, it's going to survive. It's going to get rid of all of the stupid cells and only keep the smart ones. Pretty cool, huh? You got smarter out of this. So here's the 7 reasons to fast, and we're going to go over this every week. If it gets too hot in here, let me know. I mean, I'm up here talking. So autophagy gets rid of bad cells. Autophagy gets rid of bad cells and bad DNA, because the cells that are damaged, the DNA can alter. The bad genes can get turned on, like the cancer genes, the rheumatoid arthritis genes, any of those things that cause chronic disease. Stem cell surge, that should be number 1, replaces the cells used for energy and repair during autophagy. So during autophagy, stem cells surge and they start to repair everything. This.
Just wondering if that's in the book?
Yes, it is. Yeah. It's somewhere in the back, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If not, I'll get a copy for you next time. Elevates ketones. Why do we want to elevate ketones? Our brain loves them. It means we don't need to be dependent on sugar, which means the pancreas can relax. We're not dependent on insulin. So when you burn ketones, they burn like a gas stove, hot and blue. When you burn sugar, it burns like a smoky fireplace, which is, if you open the door, that you get polluted with that. So all of America are basically, our bodies have never been told to burn a fat in its life. Look around. We eat, and that fuel is supposed to be efficient to push us through to the next meal. But we put on a little bit for winter, right? Just like the hibernating bears. Well, we never burn that. The bear comes out skinny. We just never have winter around here. That's our problem. We live in California. There's no winters.
Page 18 is where you have that.
Page 18, thank you.
Something I wanted us to add to.
Yeah. Energy diversion. So excess energy, because when you're not eating all the time, again, I said this, 60% of your energy goes towards digesting your food. But if you're only eating in a short eating window, which we'll teach you about, then you have all that extra time for your body to heal itself. And hormone optimization, reset the DNA, and reset the microbiome. Those are the 100 trillion bugs in our gut that make us healthy or sick. So we want to get rid of the bad guys, the interlopers that shouldn't be there. And yeast is an interloper. by the way, that sugar, it lives on sugar. A lot of times, anybody get cravings?
Yeah.
Okay. It's not you. It's the bugs in your gut. You know, when you want that ice cream, it's not you. It's the bugs in your gut. Blame it on them. They want simple sugar. Okay, one thing that you really should understand, and this might help, we have 3 kinds of food: carbs, protein, and fat, right? Carbohydrates are everything from a french fry to broccoli. Sometimes people go,
Broccoli?
every vegetable, yeah, every vegetable is a carbohydrate. A lot of people get confused on that. They think, no, I didn't eat any carbohydrates today, I had a salad. It's all carbohydrates. The only thing that isn't carbohydrate is meat or fat. Everything else is a carbohydrate. So carbohydrates burn like, you know, if I were a musician and I went, you know, that's a carbohydrate. That's how fast carbohydrates burn. Sugar, like if I had a car here and I put the pedal to the metal and I could go 1 to 100 in 2 seconds, that's sugar burning. If you try to do that with fat, fat takes a long time to burn. So you put the pedal to the metal, it's like your old Volkswagen, you know. So by the time the emergency's over, you almost got fat, you're almost burning ketones, but the emergency's over, so it stops then. So when we burn carbohydrates, they're the things that burn as the fastest for us. So we want to quit eating the carbs. We're going to lower the carb load and increase our fat load of good healthy fats to make our body become keto adapted. We're forcing the body to burn good fuel. We're forcing that Prius to burn electricity instead of gas. We have to do that. If you try to fast without doing that, you're going to have some success, but at one point it's going to backfire on you, and you're going to give up, and then you're going to go have ice cream and blame it on the microbiome, which is what I would do. Protein burns the second fastest. Protein, all meat, burns as sugar. And that's another thing people don't understand. You mean protein burns as sugar? Yeah, it burns as sugar. It's only 2 fuels, fat or sugar. Fat burns as fat. Nothing else burns as fat but fat. Carbohydrates and protein, which when you get on a high carb diet or a high protein diet, you're just putting sugar in your body. Have you ever seen Lucille Ball in the Chocolate Factory?
Yeah.
There you go. That's all Americans are eating like Lucille Ball in the Chocolate Factory. I mean, you know, she's eating it, stuffing it in her bra, and, you know, ah! And that's what our bodies are doing, and they're sick because they have too much sugar and they don't know what to do with it. So they store it everywhere. They store it in around your heart, around your organs, in your stomach, you know, and then you forget to thank it. You go, oh yeah, you're storing poisons for me. That's okay. No, it's not. We're going to fix that for you. You're not going to need the fat to store the toxins because we're going to help you detox. Make sense? Kind of? Okay, so here's, just to kind of give you a little bit of anatomy, this is a cell. We have 72 trillion of them in our body, 100 trillion microbiomes, which are single organ bacteria, okay? But inside the cell is this thing called the mitochondria. Has anybody ever heard of mitochondria before? Mitochondria is like the carburetor on your car. It's the power plant. It's the only thing that burns fuel in your body. Doesn't matter what you're burning, it has to get in the cell and get to the mitochondria, and then that burns fuel. So the mitochondria is where almost all genetic disease is now found to come from. Cancer is coming from the mitochondria. Inflammatory diseases are coming from the mitochondria. It's a metabolic disease. There's a doctor, I can't remember his name right now, I will in a minute, really famous guy, who says cancer is a metabolic disorder. It means that the body can't burn, the cells are so polluted, that's another talk, we'll talk another day, that the mitochondria are dying. We're killing off the mitochondria. It's like the monarch butterflies, right? So the things that have the most mitochondria in our body are our eyes and our brain and our heart. Our heart muscles are something like 70% mitochondria because they're power plants. You know, so you take cholesterol medication, what does it do? It kills the mitochondria. It wipes it out. That's why they're now saying take CoQ10. You know, so anyway, we're going to try to unravel some of the false information that has been out there as we go along. Got your book. So kind of to just give you a little bit of the 7-week program. So today we're really trying to get you off the sugar roller coaster. We're going to try this week to get you guys really into the fat adapted thing. And we're going to talk about how to do that in a minute. But, you know, if you're already doing some intermittent fasting, that's okay. But I want you to really start putting in the good oils, because those oils, see, does anybody know where sugar's stored in our body? It's in your cells, but what major organ? If your cells run out of energy, the liver. So the liver has a huge storage of sugar. You ever heard of the runner's wall? When the runners hit the wall, that when they hit the wall, they've now used up all of the stored sugar available in their body. The liver has tons of stored sugar called glycogen, and when you're going and going, your body's dumping that carburetor, and it's burning every available sugar source. Once that sugar is done, it's going after protein, because protein burns quicker than fat. So now you're getting your sugar from protein. You're breaking down protein cells. Finally, by the time the race is over, your fat cells are going, huh? I'm supposed to do something? Oh, I'm going back to sleep. So you never get to the point of burning the fat the way we're doing it. So that's I really want you to get that point, that we've got to get your body so used to burning fat. Now, we talked about the bulletproof coffee. Who tried that? How many had not done it before the event?
I've done matcha.
Okay, so the thing about that is when you wake up in the morning and you give yourself bulletproof coffee, which has got fat in it. Were you at the event? Yeah. So you get whipping cream or butter, and Carol's got all that stuff over there, or MCT oil, which is coconut oil. And so the only fuel you have in your body is oil. It's fat. And caffeine has a tendency to slow down the pancreas and slow down insulin production and slow down sugar production or consumption. So the caffeine will slow down the insulin, but it will, now that you got the fat in there, you're kind of holding this sugar molecule underwater and going, come on, fat, get going. So you're priming the pump. Your body's going to slowly, over the next week, is what we're really shooting for, getting to go, oh, I've got ketones to burn. And you know what it's going to do? It goes, wow, I love burning ketones. They burn clean. You know, my brain feels great on them. And I want more of this. And so what are some of your experiences as you're starting to feel your body burning ketones? Chris, you said what?
I don't crave sugar as much.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's great. So your body's starting to go, there's another fuel.
Yeah.
Anybody else had any experience with that, Carol?
Yeah, it's kind of what's going on with me right now. It's kind of a buzz. The energy starts to go up, and you get this buzzed feeling of just more energy.
Yeah, you do. It's amazing. I forget that movie where the guy is on that keto diet. It's I think the guy that was I can't even remember his name, but he learns 5 languages and 3 weeks. Does anybody know the movie I'm talking about?
John Travolta.
No, it wasn't John Travolta. But they find that people that are in prison camps who are being starved, they learn stuff a lot quicker. I mean, it's crazy. That's a bad, we're not going to do that. But, the point is that, yeah.
So is this a keto diet?
No. We're using the keto diet as part of it, but remember, the keto diet's like 1/5 of it. The people that are only doing that stop, they get stuck it after a little while. Because I'm glad you brought that up. Diet variation is the key. And this is one of the brilliance of Dr. Pompa, is when you eat the same thing after a while, your body gets so used to it, it doesn't even know it's good for you. So you stop losing weight. But when the whole key to survival is to challenge your body. So what we want to do is stop eating one kind of food, and then maybe we do the paleo diet for a week or two. Now, what's good about the paleo diet? It's got too much protein. Protein is going to promote heat, and it promotes anabolic action, which means growth. So it can cause bad things to grow too. So you don't want to be on that all the time. So you're going to vary your diet from a keto diet to maybe you're going to do when we do these feast days that Rod doesn't know about yet, we're going to do Maybe you're going to do a carb load that day. You're going to be able to eat all the carbs you want. Or maybe you're going to go, I'm having all of the meat I want today. Or I'm going to eat, fat, whatever it is. We'll get to that. But the key, remember, it's diet variation, which we're going to teach you after you get fat adapted. Ancient healing strategies, which is like the guys that used to chase a mammoth, and then they didn't have any food all spring, so they fasted. Wow, amazing. And they were very healthy. Like Pima Indians, before we took them over, they were some of the strongest, most well-developed people on the planet, because they ate what was there. And when they wasn't there, they didn't eat. But they were doing pretty well. Okay, boosting your stem cells is your key to deep cellular detox. Why do you think boosting stem cells would help detox our body? Yeah, because then we wipe out the old sick ones, because we've already done autophagy, and so now the stem cells are going to replace the bad ones. Hormone
Can we measure, other than like comparing blood work from detoxification, is there a way to measure stem cell growth?
I'm sure there is. I don't think you'd want to pay for it, though. I mean, it's very expensive. Dr. Walter Longo's book over there, he's the guy that really did all the studying on this stuff. And right now, NIH just donated $44 million to him to continue his research on this whole thing. So, the research is out there. I don't know. Do you know Carol? Is there a way to... Carol knows a lot about stem cells because she worked with a company that injected them into hearts for a while.
Yeah. The only way that I'm aware of is actually blood work.
Yeah.
But it's a specialized blood work.
Yeah, I don't know what but the point is your body starts to heal. Here's one way you know. After a 5-day water fast, within 6 weeks, you start to put on more muscle mass. And that's one thing that Dr. Pompa has told me. I've done it myself, and I found it to be true, because after you're done with the 5-day water fast and your stem cells are being poured into your body starts to repair what it needs in order for you to live the healthiest life you can. So it's going to make sure you have the right muscle mass. It's not going to go make more. Well, it does even repair fat cells. Stem cells, we're going to go take an old, terrible fat cell, break it down, and make a new fat cell that's more efficient. Brain health, we had talked about that. Our brain is made of what? Fat, right. So what do you think it loves? It loves fat. One thing about too much insulin, and again, we talked about sometimes people are telling you to take more insulin. Your blood level of insulin gets higher and higher and higher to keep your blood sugar level level. But what does that insulin do to your brain? What's it called? What's diabetes type 3 called?
Alzheimer's.
Everybody knew that. Okay, so when you get too much insulin in your blood, it starts to cross the blood-brain barrier, which is a wall that's supposed to keep bad things out. But our diets of inflammatory food inflame our intestines. There's a barrier there made the same as the blood-brain barrier that gets inflamed. Heavy metals, insulin, and other toxins get into our brain. And guess what? The insulin lays plaque down on your brain called amyloid plaque. Amyloid means a protein plaque. And it lays it down in all those synapses so they don't synapse anymore. So if they're telling you to take more and more and more insulin to keep your blood level, what's the likelihood you're going to get Alzheimer's? We know that 1 out of 3 people, 3 of us are going to end up with Alzheimer's the way our lives are going. 1 out of 2 of us are going to have diabetes the way our lives are going. That's not my statistics, by the way. Okay, so pain relief. Why pain relief? Because it takes the swelling out of the joints. And then the stem cells will go repair them. It's not going to happen overnight. It's a change of life. Okay, you guys got the next many years to make your body healthy. Like you saw that video, you can do that.
And I can just say one factor about stem cells that I learned is that stem cells are innately intelligent.
Yeah.
And they're so intelligent that they will decide what they fix first.
Tell that story, Carol, where you used to work.
Oh yeah, so I used to work at it still exists, an adult stem cell therapy clinic called Okeanos. The clinic's actually in the Bahamas, but their headquarters is here. Anyway, so I got to work with some incredible people, some of the best on the planet when it came to stem cell research and therapy. But one of the things that one of the doctors had told me this story where he had a woman come in she wanted to get stem cell therapy for the joints in her hands. So he treated her, and he used fat cells to get the stem cells.
Your own stem cells.
Yeah, liposuction first, then the injection. And so we injected her with the stem cells, and she came back, I think it was the 10-day checkup or something, and he said, "How are you doing?" She said, "Well, it's kind of odd, doctor. It's like my joints are still aching in my hands, but my rib feels great." And he said, "What are you talking about? What do you mean your rib?" She goes, "Oh, well, I didn't tell you because I didn't think it was relevant, but I broke my rib before I had this, but I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want you to stop the treatment for my hands. I broke my rib." She said, "But the rib healed up just like this. I couldn't believe how fast that rib healed up." She said,
The stem cells are incredibly brilliant.
So he said, "You know what?" And he explained this to her. He said, "You're going to have to come back in. We're going to need another treatment."
I think another story you told me is that they were trying to put some in this guy's heart, and they couldn't find him in the heart. And what they did, maybe you didn't tell me this, but what they found is that stem cells had gone to the arteries around the heart to heal the arteries around the heart. They go, "No, this is what you need fixed. You need the arteries around the heart." So when we produce these stem cells, which we know we can do, the science is showing that it's there. Dr. Walter Longo, the guy who won the 2000. I mean, this is so cool. I feel so happy you guys are here, because if you do this, it's going to really change your
And that's
life.
why it can take a long time. What's the point? It's like it's not an overnight thing, because the stem cells, there may be even something going on in your body we don't even know about.
Yeah.
And the stem cells are doing their thing, and so over time they'll.
You might be here because you're feeling your joints ache, but it might be fixing your heart. Your heart's fine.
Well, I was just gonna say, does it, it just goes where your body thinks it should first?
Yeah.
It starts at the top and works its way
Wherever it needs to go. It's a triage.
Right.
It's going to take the biggest emergency first.
That's interesting, because I had a 98% blockage in my right coronary artery, and I was still running and stuff. And the doctor looked and said, "Oh, your veins, your body has made other routes to get to your heart." Like,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah. That's amazing. That gives me goosebumps. I remember when I was doing that kind of dissecting thing way back over 30 years ago. But the blood vessels were amazing to me. They would grow. You couldn't really map them very well because they would change. They would bypass. They'd make a new freeway somewhere else. That's pretty cool. Energy levels, I told you why you're getting energy levels. Plus it's repairing glands like your adrenal glands and your thyroid gland. And it's repairing your brain. You know, I mean, you've got your hypothalamus and pituitary, your whole endocrine system up here. And unfortunately, the hypothalamus and pituitary gland, you guys kind of know what those are. They're the master glands up here. Basically, it's like this. You got a football team. You guys are my team, right? There's a manager, or let's say the owner, and then there's the manager. The owner is the hypothalamus, the master gland in the body. And he's telling the manager, "I want you to win the game," to the pituitary gland. Pituitary gland has 9 different glands that make hormones. That pituitary gland is going to be going, "Okay, I want you to punt. I want you to run and take a left. I want you to block that guy." And so that's the way the endocrine system works. It gets stimuli. The master gland is going to pour hormones into our body and tell which hormone it's going to say, "Pancreas, pump." Guess what? Our pancreas is going to go, "Wow, I haven't had to work for a while. I've been on a holiday. This is pretty cool because this guy's burning ketones." All right. So longevity and fat loss. Of course we want to do that, right? Good. So your task is this weekend. We're getting close to the end here. I don't want to keep you here all night, but I want you guys to engage and ask your questions, because if you don't have it, somebody else does. But I really want you to when you go home tonight, knowing that we can do anything. Your body can do anything. It's got an amazing innate power to heal itself. If you have the nerves working well and you get the chemicals handled and you start to get your body burning good fuel instead of junk, then your body's going to do amazing things for you. So start to write that down. And then why don't you guys take a minute and just share with somebody next to you what your purpose is, one of your goals for being. Just real quickly, just do that. I want you guys to get to know each other.
You're
Hey, I didn't say have fun. I just said share something with the
So I went through some work.
This one is titled, I just,
Okay, you guys.
So anyway, I just wanted to get
That's awesome. I appreciate you guys all participating. That's really good. I am the speaker. You guys are supposed to pay attention to me. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so I want to get this thing going here so you guys can get out of here with your walking papers. Carol's going to go over some food stuff, some food ideas. One thing, there's a couple things that you're going to want, okay? So we've talked about, I didn't really describe the 7-week program. It's in the book. But the main thing we want you to start to do right now is it's the 2-2-2-2 rule. And the 2-2-2-2 rule is that you want 2 tablespoons of 3 different types of oils a day and 2 teaspoons of Himalayan sea salt.
and how do you take the salt?
It's in the.
You can put it in a smoothie. Margarita. That's good, I like that. But for instance, so for me, I do drink coffee in the morning and I use the whipping cream. I use about 2 to 3 tablespoons of whole whipping cream. I have a swisher that makes it, you guys have that at the event?
Do a full cup of coffee?
I never drink the whole thing, but yeah, but see, and then one thing we're going to teach you is we're going to test your glucose and your ketones before and after coffee. Some of you, it's going to make your insulin go down. Some of it's going to make it go up. So we'll talk about that another time. But you want to start consuming your oils. You can put some coconut oil in a smoothie. You can my wife hates the fact that I'm able to eat butter. So I eat a lot of butter. And it's all organic, grass-fed butter. So I eat about 2 tablespoons of butter a day. And the MCT oil, the milk, olive oil, you can eat an avocado, half of avocado, and then the Himalayan sea salts. I have a couple different salts. If you go to a health food store, you can get these really cool different kind of salts.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's so fun, I mean, I'll use Himalayan salt, sometimes I'll use a different one. Just have fun with it. Give somebody questions.
So I'm really sodium sensitive.
So, okay, well, we'll find out what's going on, because as we start to get your body to adapt to burning ketones, the one reason you want to take the sea salt, I'm glad you brought that up, is because you do have a tendency to lose minerals when you're fasting. So you may not need as much as somebody else. I mean, when I first did my first 5-day water fast, I barely had any salt. I would just put it on my tongue when I got a little bit hungry. You have a question?
I was wondering, did you just mention milk? Some kind of milk?
Whipping cream, 100% whipping cream, organic, grass-fed, because it's all fat.
Yeah.
There's no sugar in
Right.
it. So I like that. Butter's the same thing.
So I just heard you say milk, and I was wondering what you.
Okay, I made a mistake.
No,
Yeah.
you had
Whole
no milk.
avocado too much or what?
Probably not.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're going to tell you guys about something called the carb counter. That's it. We have that all for you. You're going to get online, and there's an app called the Carb Manager. I think it's free.
Yeah, it is.
And download the Carb Manager this week if you haven't. Start looking around on it. It's going to give you, it even gives you meals, some of the keto meals, which we're kind of stealing from that, but we're going to alter it a lot with the diet variation. But you can, and in the book, you've got some food plans too. So we want you to work on what foods to eat. now there's there's a page that has net carbs on here, so you have some homework to do. You need to really pay attention to the first 3 or 4 pages here. You know how on a package you have this little label on here? Turn to page 5.
Yeah.
Okay, now when it says net carbs versus total carbs, it's very simple. It's going to say on here your total carbs is 13 grams, right? Everybody see that? Then it says grams of fiber, 3 grams. Subtract the fiber from the total carbs and you get your actual grams of carbs, total carbs. Just it's this amount, just look at it. Yeah. So it's just, you'll figure that out, because we're going to want you to keep your carbs down. We're going to work you down to 50 grams of carbs a day. The carb counter is amazing for you. It will help you so much. Like one of my snacks when we get into down the road, I eat gorgonzola cheese with some pecans on it. A great snack when we get to the snack part. But it's so low. It's so low in anything bad for you. It's pretty great. So we'll teach you tricks. So you're going to learn how to use the carb counter. Why do we want to have? Why do we want to go into ketosis? Yeah, it's going to help increase the results and help our fasting go better, because we're going to be having a fuel to burn. And then identify the tools you need to be successful. So we're going to work through those. So here's the key. This is kind of why it's not just a ketogenic diet. By implementing the keto diet along with fasting principles, you will learn the 7 weeks of Stemnomic program. This will help you optimize autophagy and stem cell production. I didn't put in there, we're also going to go over the various types of diets. Keto process, simply lower carbs, increase fat. That's all we're really doing this week. And it's not, some of you it's going to be easy, some of it's going to be harder. Again, this is an idea. You can have 2 tablespoons of medium chain triglyceride or MCT oil. Basically, the difference between coconut oil and MCT oil, you know how coconut oil is hard in room temperature? That's called lauric acid. So they take the lauric acid out of coconut oil and you're left with 2 more oils that don't harden in room temperature. So that's why the MCT, medium chain triglyceride oil, is a little better for you than coconut oil.
Okay, how do I get the coconut oil or medium chain? I mean, like I do the butter, I do the heavy whipping cream, olive oil is a piece of cake because you can pour it in soup or whatever, but I don't get how to get the coconut oil.
Well, you can put it in your coffee if you want.
In addition to the butter?
Yeah, how do you do it, Carol?
I don't do it.
You don't? Okay.
I have it for whatever reasons. My body doesn't need coconut oil, and it just
and you said yours doesn't either.
MCT does not set well on my
yeah,
stomach
me,
at
I have the
all.
same reaction.
Ever.
Yeah,
So I just do butter.
Yeah, so it's, and like I told Pat, Pam, sorry, it's the difference is sometimes we need to work on your digestive system. Your body for some reason can't digest those oils. So as your body's repairing itself, some of those glands will come back. Dr. Jason Funk says even the pancreas, they're seeing pancreas cells come back on type 1 diabetics by doing what he's doing.
But I just increased my butter.
Yeah, okay. So, Dave, wait a second. Sorry, Dave.
I was curious, it mentioned here, so I get the low carbs, but also not exceeding half your lean body weight.
Right.
In ounces of protein.
Yeah.
So can you talk about how we need to figure that out?
It's in the carb counter. It's really easy. So let's say I weigh 200 pounds. So 100 pounds of protein. 1 chicken breast is like 43 grams of protein. 1 egg is 6 grams of protein. The carb counter is so cool. You can just plug it in there and it will tell you exactly what it is. And, you know, learning how to live, it's like learning how to live. You know, you're learning how to live. You got to go to school. You got to do a little bit of homework. It's not going to be, I'm going to take this pill and get well. So just challenge yourself. One thing we're going to do is there's 2 different ways that we're going to communicate during the week. One is, if you haven't already joined Health Rebels on Facebook, join Health Rebels, because it's going to be a forum for us to have interaction. Like somebody's going to say, hey, I found this food is great, this works really well. All of you guys will be privy to that. And somebody might say, how do you do blah, blah, blah? I might not be able to get to Facebook, or Carol may not, but all you guys can respond on that. It's a private group. You won't get anything but just the private information from us. So it's Health Rebels. If you're not on Facebook, the other choice is something called Voxer. I didn't bring my phone, it's being used, but Voxer is like a walkie-talkie. Anybody know what Voxer is? So basically, I just press a button and it will be a closed group with all of us, and I go, "Hey Carol, how do I make that coffee again?" And then she'll pick up her phone and see she has a message. It plays, or you can type it in. Immediately respond, and it's so simple. You don't even have to open your computer.
So it's like a social,
We
Yeah,
can
and
set
it's
it up
free.
next week, we'll just
Yeah, we'll
start
talk
out, we'll
about it
set
next
up
week.
next week for
So you're saying coconut oil is, you don't want to use, or?
No, coconut oil's fine, but let's say your doctor says you already have some risk for taking too much fat. You might want to do the MCT oil because it's taken the one questionable. There was a whole article that came out that coconut oil is bad for you a while ago. You know, it's because of the lauric acid.
So what's the difference between coconut oil regular or, I've been using it to, I heat it up, I cook my food.
Yeah, good.
And I brush it on my food. Actually,
Yeah.
I cook it in a crock pot with cannabis, and then I get this green coconut oil. Oh my God. It makes food taste really good.
Wow.
And everything.
I like it
But
already.
I can't get any cannabis anymore because of all the regulations. But that's, but so is that healthy for me to have it hot? Is it warm? I mean, I'm
Yeah,
not
coconut
sure.
oil doesn't break down under heat. You got to be careful
I
with
read somewhere that, and I didn't
oil.
like it.
Yeah.
Are you talking about that solid coconut
Yeah,
oil?
But I
The one
read somewhere that it was bad.
But it
No,
was
you
more
can cook
solid.
with it.
Well,
That's why
regular
yeah.
coconut oil, like right there
That's
sitting on the
break
cap. Organic, everybody. Just believe me.
solid.
We'll go over. It's solid now, but you know,
Yeah, I
it
know,
gets
but
to be
wait,
about
yeah,
70
so why don't
or
we
40
It's
don't-
not extra virgin and regular. I don't understand.
Yeah.
That's
We don't
olive
have
oil,
that.
not coconut oil.
No,
I
it
think.
actually,
Is it?
no, it says.
I get it as
coconut
good.
oil.
I get it as. You just don't want it refined to
No,
death.
I don't
Yeah,
have
that's
You know,
that.
you just want raw, organic coconut oil.
I like Dr. Bronner's the best.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, you had a question.
If, I was gonna say, if you don't like coconut oil, the MCT oil does not taste like coconut.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it
does.
doesn't have the flavor.
You just got to be able to digest it. And you know, what, how are you taking it? Are you taking it in a smoothie or just by itself? Well, there you go. Sometimes you have to mix it up. Yeah, you want to mix it up. I love curry in my food, but I'm not going to eat it.
Himalayan
It's a
salt.
little different.
Yeah,
You can massage it, your skin's very
Yeah.
absorbed.
yeah, that's a great idea. Yes,
I have,
go ahead.
which one of us?
Where's the MCT?
I have a white warmer on my counter and I have 2 little jars and I put my coconut oil in there so it's always liquid and I
It's
can
not
just
a
throw it in the
solid.
stuff and I hate digging it out of it.
Yeah, coconut oil's amazing.
Yeah.
It's really easy to use.
Whole Foods has
The
it.
MCT oil, you can put that in coffee along with your cream,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, I like the flavor of the coconut in my coffee in the morning. It
Yeah,
sweetens
but
it up a
The
little bit.
MCT oil doesn't have that.
It has a little bit of a taste. Yeah, it does. It depends on which quality you get. Ron?
Well, about the triglycerides,
Yeah.
I have really high triglycerides supposedly. So is that what, I don't understand, are we adding triglycerides?
So that's a great question. So why do you think you have high triglycerides?
My cholesterol,
Right. So what is your body not doing well enough?
not burning the cholesterol.
Right.
Sugar.
So what do we want to try to get your body doing better?
Okay, burning.
Fat adapt?
Yeah, we want to get it fat adapted. That's the whole thing.
This adds triglycerides?
Well, yeah, it does in a way. I mean, it is a fat, but we want to get your body fat adapted, and we're going to work on that this week. Okay, so it's a really good question, but it's like, why would you give a body more insulin if it has too much insulin? It's almost the thing. I have too many fats in my body, but I'm not going to teach my body to burn fat. So we need to get you fat adapted. I mean, we can talk. This is a great question for our group. This is why we want to be on this Health Rebels or the Voxer, because if I have a question, I'll put it right up to Dr. Pompa, and he'll put it right back to all of us to read. I mean, we have a lot to figure out. Each one of you is different. Each one of you has a complete different body than the person next to you. You have different DNA. You have different ability to handle toxins. Some people have big buckets and they can do everything. Like, what was that guy who smoked the cigars? George Burns. George Burns. He had a bucket this big. He could take all the toxins in the world and never be affected. somebody else has a little bucket this big. As soon as it's plugged, they're sick. Carol's wanting me to move forward. So we're gonna, this is this thing called a ketometer. I'm gonna recommend that you all get it. This what measures both ketones and glucose. You really want to get one of these, and because we're gonna test your ketones in the morning, and your blood, and we want to get a ratio a certain point. We're going to be able to get these for about 15% off what they go for on the market. By next week, I'll have a code that you can go to the website and get a discount because of everything that we're all doing. We're all getting it through Dr. Pompa, so we're getting a discount on it. But you're going to want this one. The reason you want this one is because the strips for the ketones usually are $3 each.
Sheesh.
For other ones, they're only $1 each. It's a little bit, but you know what? If it's going to save your life, it's worth it. And then once you kind of get fat adapted, you don't have to test it all the time. We want you to get fat adapted. How do we know you're fat adapted? Because you got ketones in your blood. So that's going to be one of the tools.
What about the urine strips?
They're not very accurate. Dr. Pompa says they're just not accurate enough, so I just trust them. You know, you can use them if you're really on a tight budget. Get them, but if not, get the keto thing. That's what I recommend.
Does it keep track of? So we would have to get two.
No,
two of them.
no, you can get one.
What? Okay.
Yeah, and it will. You're gonna write it down anyway.
Okay, okay.
But it does keep track in there.
Okay.
How much are they?
I think they're like 120 with the 60 strips, I believe. But you get 15% off of that with the code that I'm going to give you guys. I mean, there's some cheaper ones on the market, but you're going to pay more for the keto strips. But again, if it is an issue, then just, you know, one way you know you're in ketosis is you're not hungry. It's a really good way to know. But we want to, you know, if we really want to change our life, it's worth trying to figure this out. Well, at some point too, we'll talk about, these are some of the things that help pull the toxins out of our body. If you're having trouble and you're feeling toxic because you're burning fat cells, this Cyto it helps your liver or your kidney clean, and this one here helps pull the toxins out of your colon. This one here is, we'll talk about it later, but this one is actually, it creates hydrogen. Hydrogen's the smallest element on the planet, right? It gets into every cell, it gets into your mitochondria, and it pulls out the bad oxidative stresses in there. So it's really cool. It's what Dr. Pompa put together. But
is that listed in here?
I think it might be. Yeah, I'm sure it is. Carb counter, we talked about that. Grocery list, you got one last week. There's one in your book. There's recipes in your book. If you get the carb counter, it's got, I mean, the carb, what's it called? Carb manager. It's got all kinds of good recipes in there and tons of information. You can find out what a carbohydrate is, what a protein is, and what's good and bad, and you can, it's pretty cool. Takes a little bit of homework, so that's your homework. It's free still? Yeah. It's free. Get it tonight and just start playing around with it. Figure out, it gives you a little pie chart of what you're consuming, and it's kind of cool. So here's a summary. If you guys don't know why you're doing this, you're not going to do it. So really solidify what it is why you want this. Where do you want your life in 10 years? Do you want to be like the guy on the right or the guy on the left? So I know you all want to be on this side. So please do me a favor, join Health Rebels, okay? And then we'll tell you how to do the Boxer thing. Read the instruction book. Get yourself fat adapted. Carb Manager, Keto Mojo. Wait till next week till I get the code on that. Get on Health Rebels. We're going to teach you about Boxer. Write in your guide and get a picture of yourself, okay? And weigh yourself if you want. We have a scale here. Also in your book, some of you already did this, but write down how many meals you eat a day for 4 days. 4 days in the week. And no cheating days where you only do 2 because you were sick. Doesn't count.
And a single nut counts as a meal.
A single nut counts as a meal.
What about a cup of tea? Don't get it.
Tea, as long as it doesn't have sugar in it, is okay. I'm
What
going to turn
about
it
a
over to
latte?
Carol for a couple minutes. This is the disclaimer. Of course, you guys look. Rod, if you have terribly high cholesterol, I mean, the medical doctors unfortunately don't know about any of this. So, but if you have a health condition, you've got to run it by your gut. Feel like you do if you need to.
We had a really good friend who was on all really high doses of cholesterol medicine, and he went on a
very similar diet, high protein diet, his cholesterol just rocked like crazy. He
Yeah.
got all medication.
And that's, see the diet variation, we put that in, that's awesome. Okay, Carol, maybe a couple more minutes. You guys are great, thank you so
Can I
much for
ask-
sticking
can I
around.
ask one
Yeah,
question?
I'll
So
stick around afterwards too,
okay.
but go ahead, ask it
So
now.
on the 222 thing.
Yeah,
So cooking with olive oil doesn't count. So like.
well, it does.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was just thinking, I mean, what
On
else
the
am I gonna
salad,
put
cook
olive
in
in a
it.
salad or, okay, got it,
Something
thank
in a
you.
smoothie.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can hide it in smoothies and stuff like that.
okay.
Just stay away from all of the bad canola oils.
Yeah.
You know, all that stuff is poison, it turns rancid before it leaves the shelf.
But they say it's so good for you.
Because they're liars.
Hey.
The heart
All the cooking shows.
Nutritionists, my friend had just had triple bypass, and that's one of the oils they said to use, canola, and I said, don't.
It's
Don't.
toxic. It's
That's
said
how they were
online
taught.
that it's bad.
Okay, so my disclaimer is I don't cook. I live in a tiny house on wheels.
You
and
don't
my-
eat either, so.
I do. I've lost a lot of weight, but I live in a tiny house on wheels, so my cooktop is literally something I pull out of a drawer and put it up on the thing. So, and I'm retired, so I'm on Social Security, so I also look at pricing of everything. So if you don't care how much things cost, that's fine, but I've become like my mom. Now I do, I never used to. But, so I'm just gonna give you some brands to get you started, because I get asked these questions a lot. So the butter of choice is Kerrygold. It's carried even at Safeway, but if you wanna save $1, buy it at Whole Foods.
Or,
Why is it better than the other
Trader
ones?
Joe's.
More fat, more
It's
pure.
$3.69.
Made in
That's right, I
Ireland.
got it at Trader Joe's the other day, and it was even less.
Yeah.
So it's $3.69 at Whole Foods, it's because of Target,
They also have it.
pound?
They also have
You
it
get
at
a half a
Costco.
pound for $3.69.
Yeah,
Costco has it.
I'm sorry, you're not talking about a whole pound for $3.69, are you?
No, I'm just talking, this
Half
is
pound.
$3.69,
Right.
every place else I've
That's
been
pretty
to is
good.
over $4.
Yeah.
Did you check
You're gonna eat a lot of it,
Grass
so
fed.
you wanna find it where you
From
wanna eat it,
Ireland.
so if it's.
Does it matter if it's salted or not? Is that salted or just?
It doesn't matter, I like salted butter. No, I don't use whipping cream in my coffee in the morning, just because there's something about the heaviness of it, I prefer butter. So I literally, and trust me on this, experiment with the amount you put in your coffee or your tea, because everybody's different. I've talked to some people who 1 tablespoon and that's it. I put 2 tablespoons of butter in my coffee, and I whip it up, and I don't need any whipping cream at all. So I'm not, sometimes if I'm on my 2nd or 3rd cup, I might put in like a half teaspoon of whipping cream, because I do have it, so I don't use up my butter too fast. Also, I like my coffee sweet.
Yeah.
This is now, I'm one of these people that if I put stevia in my mouth, it's instant reaction. I'm like the 0.01%. This is I've tried all the stevias, including my sister who insists that I should try hers, which I did. This is the one that doesn't have any aftertaste. This is wholesome, it's a wholesome brand, so you can get it again at Whole Foods Newly for Aptos Naturals. It's an organic stevia, and it's the one, if you don't have a reaction, it doesn't matter, but make sure that if you're gonna use something sweet, that you use stevia or an organic stevia, right? I just happen to like this because it doesn't have an aftertaste.
I heard that the difference was, it's more expensive to get this, but they use the real young leaves or something.
Oh, I don't know, I've tried them all, every brand.
But it's stevia.
It's stevia,
Yeah.
but it's the only kind of stevia that I don't react to. And my sister has an organic stevia that I do react to, so. it's just like that. Coffee. I just wanted to show you what the bulletproof coffee looks like. Now, it's a little pricey. Don't buy it on Amazon, it's more expensive on Amazon than anywhere. Whole Foods does once in a while have a sale on it, so it's usually $14.99, and they'll have a sale once in a while at $10.99, and I'll buy 2. But I have found another one I like.
Why that coffee and not other
Oh,
coffee?
so here's the story with coffee. So, I have a story for everything. I'm like him. You can tell we're family because we go coffee. So, I was in London in last October, and I went to Harrods because I was going to get some really fine coffee. So I said to the guy behind the coffee bar, I would like organic coffee. And he looked at me and he said, we don't carry it. And I said, but this is Harrods. You carry every coffee known to man and God. How can you not have organic coffee? We don't carry organic coffee. Why is it the Americans come in here and you always want organic coffee? Do you know how much organic decaf coffee I'm asked for every single... I said, well, how... So he said, what is it about organic that you have to have this coffee? And I said, well, in the United States, and you may not know this, there is no regulation to keep mold out of the processing of coffee. But when it's organic and it's shade grown, there's a pretty good chance that there's little or no mold in it. And if you buy bulletproof coffee, there's no mold whatsoever. He went, oh, well, we don't have any mold in our coffee because we have a regulation saying that you can't have mold in your coffee. I said, oh. And he said, and another thing, tell all your American friends we don't have an organic label.
Yeah, what happens is the United States takes the coffee that the other countries won't take.
Yeah. Oh, that's the truth. So we
It has
had
to be free reign.
we had a very nice chat there. So the other one I found, and I did do some research on this one. This is called Kicking Horse Coffee. Deluxe has it. Kicking Horse. It comes in a bag, but they had Deluxe had a special on it over Christmas of 2 cans. It's usually about $10.99. Deluxe in Rio del Mar. You can order it online. Amazon has it, and they have a variety of them. I like medium roast, so this is called Three Sisters, and I have 2 sisters. So. But it's shade grown, and if you go to their website, Kicking Horse, they explain that there's no mold and it's shade grown and it is organic. So those are just, I'm not saying you have to do, I'm just giving you options and some brands to start with. The other thing is bone broth, right? So Dr. McCollum makes bone broth from scratch, and it's great, except I'm one of these people that doesn't like all the
Smell,
fat.
it does also smells up the house.
Right, so this is called Kettle and Fire. It's Whole Foods has it, and it's almost like a consomme. See, I know that word.
Is that the only one you recommend? Because there are a lot of bone broths.
No, there's a lot. There's another one back there that Dr. Pompa likes. There's a jar back there, and Dr. McCollum. You may have one.
Yeah, the
because I know
Witch's Kitchen is
kitchen.
Yeah, they're local. What is it called?
Witch's Kitchen.
Yeah.
But I mean, this has like 2 grams of carbohydrates in it, and it's especially good if you're moving into fat adaptation and you do get hungry, because your body's gonna. Some people don't, some people do. The body's gonna flash back at you sometimes and give you a hunger call, even though it's not actual.
And the tricks for that also.
This is one of those tricks.
Another one is salt, or sea salt. Just put a little sea salt on your tongue, and it will satiate you.
So I think the Dr. Pompa and other people recommend the pink salt, the Himalayan salt, which I never had before. To your salt question, I had a sensitivity, and I was living in Florida at the time, so I was having salt depletion, and I was actually tested by a chiropractor there. On my salt, he said, I think it's just the type of salt you're using. Switch to pink Himalayan, and I didn't have a problem. Now this is very high in minerals, which could be the reason. That is the reason.
Yeah.
But that may also be the reason why I didn't have a sensitivity to it. And that, like anything that your body needs, it's almost like you put something on your tongue and the body goes, yes, I want that. But this also, just putting it on your fingertip and putting it on your tongue, 1 or 2, helps with hunger also.
Where did you get that?
Oh,
You can get it
everybody
anywhere.
has this
Yeah.
everywhere. Yeah, it's a trend. So Spectrum, this is
That's one of many. There's so many
but it's,
organic.
again, it's just organic.
What is it?
Let's go to So the main thing you guys want to do this week, though, is experiment with some fats. And you're not even trying to do intermittent fasting yet. Just get some fats in your body. Make your body feel good with it. Find out, you know, if there's some that you consume better than others, because we're going to get into, we're going to train your body every week with something a little bit more. And this is a gradient Dr. Pompa's tried with thousands of people and made it so simple that it's going to slide out really well for us.
And as you go through these experiments and questions come up, because they will, just hopefully most of you are on Facebook, just post them on the Health Rebels. I look at it a lot, so both of us are pretty good at going.
Does anybody have a cell phone? Just go into type Voxer in the app thing. If you guys, you know, this
it's
is
like a walkie-talkie app.
Yeah, it's
is
really
what it is.
amazing.
You can actually go back and forth. It's
yeah.
pretty cool. Yeah.
But you guys see how much fun it was when you guys were all talking together?
Mm-hmm.
We need to support each other for the next 7 weeks on this. And you know, probably some of you guys are going to have similar things, and you're going to have questions. Somebody else is just going to have figured that out. So I really encourage you guys to get, you know, to get on these apps with us, because I can help you much better. Carol can help you. We monitor that. You might have a burning question, and one of us will see it, or one of you guys will have an idea.
And also, we did record tonight,
Yeah.
and we're going to put it up on the private Facebook page, so it's not, the videos won't be made public. It'll be private to this group.
Yes, it'll be.
On the Rebel Health page.
And if everybody's okay, I think we have the phone number of just about everybody in here. We do have a texting app that I can use. Again, it would be private, and we won't use it for anything but this 7-week course. I can go ahead and text some links to you as they come across, so that you don't have to, you know, in 48 hours, some of us will delete some of the stuff we heard tonight, right? So I can, for example, I can put up the link to the video when it comes in, so you can go right to that.
Yeah, so here's the Voxer app. It's a little guy. Just join it, and then friend me, Duncan McCollum, and then I'll create a group that's only us. And it's really kind of cool, because see, I wake up at like 4 or 5 in the morning every morning, and I'm sitting there doing some studying, and I look at my Voxer app, and Dr. Pompa and I communicate on that, or our whole, we call them a platinum group, that we all have these questions, and it's so easy for me in the morning to answer your questions before I go to work. You might ask one at 8 o'clock at night. Well, you'll get an answer before 7 the next day, because that's when I'm up looking at my information and stuff. Well, I think we should wrap it up. Now, we'll answer more questions, but you guys have simple homework. Get the carb thing, get on Health Rebels, get on Voxer, and eat fat.
And don't eat carbs.
And lower your carbs. Start playing around with a carb counter.
And
We'll see you guys
also
next week.
And just, and know that you're being trained. Don't expect to be perfect the first week. That's why you want to experiment. Just play around. Okay, and just checking, it's now 8:30, 25 hours.
Yeah, well, hey, thanks for watching, guys. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for your help.